Hello everybody, we are in Bono, Arkansas catching a southbound BNSF train hauling domestic international intermodal containers toward Memphis into Atlanta, Georgia. The first two motors are two General Electric Evolution series with one that was built in 2003 when first introduced. The third unit is a fairly new locomotive that's far from home. It is Wednesday, June 11th, and traffic is starting to die out on the BNSF South Layer subdivision as the sun starts to set. We'll be exploring trains across central Arkansas into eastern parts of on the Union Pacific and BNSF, including mixed freights and intermodals. Once that train cleared out of Bono and continued to hobble until it approached Jonesboro, slowing down at 25 miles an hour, I decided to go get another shot of this train, so I took Interstate 555 to Bay, Arkansas. First, I went to the main street to see dozens of automobile cars and barricades that are left after a tornadic disaster that ripped through the state. These cars were on the ground on April 4th of 2025 after a strong EF3 tornado ripped through Bay, including two trains waiting for the storms to clear, but unfortunately were caught in the path of the tornado. As of December of 2025, all of these cars are no longer in that area as the railroad moved them to a recycling where they were ripped into pieces. After seeing the cars that were left behind months after the storm took place, I went back north to position myself at Arkansas Highway 158 crossing. It took about an hour to get over in Bay due to traffic in Jonesboro, but lucky for us, it got here before it even went dark. 5 days later, on June 16, I was given a heads up of a southbound mixed freight from Tulsa, Oklahoma. This train had 2 locomotives that's really neat to catch. The lead unit was a BNSF General Electric C44-9W number 4717. Many rail fans call these fake bonnets as they were painted in the Santa Fe scheme but were given BNSF letterings. And behind that locomotive was a railroad that was bought out by the BNSF Railway far from home, at Montana Rail Link EMD SD70 ACE number 4316. Fortunately, this train was stopped at downtown to pick up cars from the industries east of Jonesboro, where this train's destination is in Memphis. You may be wondering what you were hearing on the radio. That's the conductor letting the engineer know that he has a all clear and has permission to move forward after tying the brakes in. While he was talking and counting the cars and the length, he was also listening to the National Weather Service radio, and I have no clue why he was listening to it. Once the rest of the train is clear, the conductor switches the switch again to reconnect the entire train that was blocking the East Johnson Road to crossing that caused major delays and detours.
Tulsa, we are now line and locked for main track movement. Conductor got the point from the ground. You can back up. Let's go. Get 8 cars to a joint. Tulsa, conductor now pulling back up 8 cars.
I decided to go to get another video of this train clearing out, so I moved to another location, this time at New Road Crossing. As I was about to get my set ready, an unexpected northbound intermodal train was rolling into the city. This slash up has 3 General Electric locomotives, including a foreign railroad trailing behind. NS number 9878 is a C44-9W built in 2004. With the ongoing rebuild program that Norfolk Southern is doing over a decade now, this is considered as an uncommon locomotive because NS plans to rebuild their DC locomotives to AC. The name of the new model is called an AC44 C6M, which has better performance than a C44-9W. S-MEMLHA is clear, so H-TULMEM will continue its journey southbound, which after this, we will part ways with this colorful flashlight as it gets darker. The next day, June 17th, I went back to downtown again to see a southbound Union Pacific mixed freight MASPB on the Jonesboro subdivision. This last ship has 2 EMD motors along with 2 former locomotives that were recently sold off. Two former BNSF GP39Es, including a classic Burlington Northern keeping its original colors, are heading to Texas after BNSF has sold the majority of their general purpose locomotives. A couple of people online claim that BNSF is selling a ton of their GP series locomotives and will continue to do so in the future. That's what I've been hearing, so I cannot clarify or say if this is true or not. Large pipes is something I really don't see a lot unless you live in a place where they manufacture pipes like these. One example is in Little Rock, Arkansas. A day later, June 18th, I received a heads up that a BNSF intermodal train from Birmingham has a really nice last shot from 3 different railroads. Sadly though, it got quite dark here, so I didn't get a really good shot when it rolled by, but here it is. CSX 3035 and ES44AH was the head-in along with the new primer locomotive Firmex number 4908 and AC44C6M, and a Heritage 2 ES44DC number 7708. Firmex bought 60 AC44C6Ms from Wabtec after Norfolk Southern delayed the deliveries of the former CEFX AC4400 Bluebirds and Dash 9s. Thus, they were sold to Firmex and were given the primer scheme of which Firmex paints them in Mexico. But due to the shortage of power at the time, they were immediately put into service with no paint. Check this out. As this train continues going west to Los Angeles, it made its way towards the storms that were occurring in Bono. This train was also quite long as well, roughly about 418 axles counted at the defect detector south of Jonesboro. Here's an audio of the defect detector after this train passed over between Bay and Jonesboro.
BNSF detector, milepost 427.1. No defects. Repeat, no defects. Total axle 418 out.
It's a scorching July day and we are visiting in Memphis, Tennessee at Channel 3 Drive. As I enter that spot, a BNSF intermodal Z-AUGSBD was approaching to stop at this area waiting for a train that crossed over the Mississippi River to clear. About 5 minutes after it stopped, they were given a yellow signal, meaning they can proceed with caution. BNSF 1082, a C44-9W, was trailing behind. There are quite uncommon paint schemes to see. This is the Heritage 1 scheme. Many call these pumpkin units because they were given a green forest and an orange scheme. BNSF sold their Dash 9s to Wabtec in June, which includes the Heritage 1, war bonnets, etc. So it was a great opportunity to catch this one before BNSF sells all of them. I attempted to go get a shot of this train passing over the bridge, but as soon as I heard the defect detector, I knew I wouldn't make it because the defect detector isn't actually far from where it was said.
Especially a Z train, the red train looks good here in Shelby.
BNSF detector, milepost 483.3. Track 1, no defects. Repeat, no defects. Total axle 1, 2, 8 out.
After that train cleared, another BNSF northbound train was approaching, but we'll have to stop at this area for the intermodal train to be far enough for the northbound to clear. BNSF 5535 was the head end of this train with another GE behind. I eventually moved to another location because this train never left 30 minutes after it stopped moving, so I went to this crossing to see an Illinois Central SD70 going back to the yard. About an hour later, another SD70 was also making its way to Harrison Yard. On July 12th, a Union Pacific southbound mixed freight MPRNL had a heritage unit leader, so I went out to see this unit at dark. The problem is, there's a ton of mosquitoes around me as one was on camera as you can see. So you can see me moving around trying not to get bitten by those mosquitoes because, they're surrounding me and I cannot imagine how many of them are there around me. CSX 1852 is one of 22 painted in the CSX Heritage Scheme. It was given the Western Maryland Railroad. Many rail fans call these the Texas unit because 3/4 of its paint scheme was painted in blue, while the rest is red and white. Behind that unit was CSX 28, a YN2 AC44 locomotive that's now retired and rebuilt to a CM44 AC locomotive. A day later, July 13th, a BNSF southbound mixed freight was hauling a ton of their general-purpose locomotives to Memphis, likely going for scrapped or were sold out to another railroad. Who knows? Welcome to August, and we are in Wynne, Arkansas, seeing this local kicking cars behind the trees. UP 6738 along with a classic Southern Pacific GP60 are working together to push and pick up cars at the yard. Funny how the crew on 6738 calls me out on the radio when I was getting my equipment ready. So whoever it is, shout out to you. Now they're fully out of this spur track, they contact dispatch to let them know that they're ready to take the Wynne subdivision. Likely head north to another small yard not too far from where I filmed this spot, or continue to Jonesboro where they'll head south again for the industry 40 miles away that are facing south. Welcome to McRae, Arkansas, a small city in White County, Arkansas with a population of over 615 people. This line is the Union Pacific Hoxie subdivision connecting from Little Rock, Arkansas to Dexter, Missouri. We are at Grand Avenue as this is the only grade crossing with gates and lights and also an old Missouri Pacific signal tower that's still standing even after the company was bought out by the Union Pacific Railroad in the 80s. We eventually got our green signal here at McRae, Arkansas, meaning a northbound Union Pacific train is on its way. I nearly missed this train, so this is the MTRNL, which is going south to North Little Rock, Arkansas. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, consider subscribing. I'll see you guys next time.